And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcast on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 tailgate, where you see those sirens in your feed. You know exactly what that means. Virginia Polytechnical Institute and University. Yeah. VPI, Virginia Tech, not Vatech. Virginia Tech got its guy. Congratulations to the Hokies, because if you know a Hokie, if there's a Hokie in your life, this James Franklin stuff has driven you crazy for about 3 to 4 weeks. You know, I mean, the flight tracker, this getting spotted on campus. Oh, he's at the ODU game. You know, that could also be a recruiting hotspot for Virginia Tech.
It's true.
Yeah. It was a long run, but Virginia Tech gets its guy. James Franklin is expected to be the next head coach for the Hokies. I was just on CBS Sports HQ with Tom. I've got a sense of his initial read on this. Bud, where do you start with this in terms? Is it a James Franklin story or is it a Virginia Tech story to you?
Probably some of both, right? I mean, I think Franklin would have had options if he wanted to sit out the year and survey the landscape, maybe kind of take stock of his approach and what he was doing. I think overall, like, his approach at Penn State was awesome, right? Like they won a whole lot of games in a sport that is like increasingly chaotic year to year. They were extremely stable up until this last season, and obviously wore out his welcome a little bit there at Penn State, just by doing kind of the same thing every year, which is bumping their heads up against that ceiling and maybe not be able to break through with a national championship or a national championship appearance. But I think the guy runs a good organization. I think he's proven he's pretty good at hiring coaches and will cast a wide net in doing so and runs just a pretty good operation, man. Honestly, like, it's a very, I would say, competent head coaching hire. As Tom always says, great hire. I have no idea if it's going to work out, and I think that's true, right?
Have you tweeted it?
Yes. Did you tweet it yet? All right,
yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
I mean, we genuinely don't know how it's going to work out, but sometimes we can first guess, like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Occasionally it's like, all right, this is the AD hiring his buddy type thing, and I don't think that's the case here. And he must have really nailed the interview, because if you think about it, like, they just took a guy off his staff in Brent Pry, who was a Hokie, right?
Yep.
And so, I'm sure part of the interview process was, okay, not that you know exactly what Brent did here, it failed. How is your approach going to be different, given that a lot of Brent's formative years as a D coordinator were with you? So, like, how does that look different? And then also, I think it's a Hokie story because they just kind of came out and said, we have not been committed to football. Our expectations do not match our spending, I think was the line from Whit Babcock, the athletic director, when he was addressing the board. They put a whole lot more money up. We don't know what the split of that money is, right? Like, how much of that is facilities, debt maintenance, coaching staff, support staff, NIL.
Don't matter, Bud. It's Virginia Tech needed to be Tech needed to be in a better spot than they were.
Yeah. Well, but I would push back slightly, Chip. I think it does matter that, like, if you had to overspend a ton to get Franklin to say yes, what do you have left over for the roster?
Sure.
Right. Like, that's kind of the question I would have. Like, as a Knoll, people are like, oh, are we going to let him go to Virginia Tech? I'm like, if they're just putting down an arm and a leg just to get him, I don't think you have to match that kind of money, right? So I will be curious, like, what the salary is and what, like, the actual pot is for NIL, because Tech has lost their best players each of the last 2 off seasons to SEC powers. They have not really been competitive in the NIL space. That's a major question for me.
What's his offset language in his contract at Penn State?
He could backload this thing. He could come on the sheet for early years and backload the contract to really stick it to Penn State.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, for my feelings on it, Chip, you know what I said in HQ, so I'm going to play both sides here, so I can't be wrong. I think this is a terrible hire, the worst decision that Virginia Tech can make, the worst decision James Franklin could. No, I love the hire. I really do. I think it makes a ton of sense for both parties. I think that for Virginia Tech in this market with the other jobs that are available, to be able to strike on their top target before the other teams ever really get down to him because they're too busy waiting for coaches who are currently still employed and currently might be going to the college football playoff. I think the timing works out wonderful for Virginia Tech to get him in. And I also, honestly, I think it's a great hire for James Franklin in that he took the Vanderbilt job and built that program from nothing to where they were winning 9 games and was so successful doing so that Penn State looked at him and said, we should hire that guy. So he goes to Penn State. Bill O'Brien had been there, and Bill O'Brien did a pretty decent job, but they were still a program that was stuck in both the past from being, still thinking it was like 1983 and that kind of like whatever, we're going to live and relive the glory days, but also was absolutely hammered by the NCAA because of the Sandusky scandal. So they had a big hole to dig themselves out of. And James Franklin did such a great job of getting them out of that hole that eventually it wasn't good enough anymore because it's like, well, crap, we're not winning national titles. We're not winning the Big Ten. So they get rid of him. Now he goes to Virginia Tech, a program with a storied history, most of it from a while ago, that is trying to get back to winning ways in a league where, frankly, it is much easier to win than it was going to be for James Franklin to win at Penn State when you have to go against Ohio State and Michigan and now Oregon and USC. I'm not going to sit here and say Virginia Tech is back, but I think this is an excellent first step in that process.
The Brent Pry thing, Bud, makes me think that he knows everything about Virginia Tech, the good, the bad, the ugly. That relationship has to be part of your research process before you say yes if you're James Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I'm thinking, wow, it might mean Virginia Tech is serious about this investment. Like if James Franklin is saying, if I'm going to lead you into the future, if I'm going to help you understand, because having money and knowing how to spend it are two different things. And I think that James Franklin's experience of the different places that he's been can make him a great, great leader in those efforts to kind of modernize the program. So the fact that he would have the opportunity to have Brent Pry badmouth him and be like, dude, it's a house of cards. It's like, do not go there. The fact that opportunity might have been there and James Franklin still says yes on November 17th, when you could have, maybe played this thing in and sort of pushed it out. Virginia Tech might have had to go an arm and a leg in on this, as you mentioned it, but they've got their guy. And now he can start working on putting together the staff and getting their recruiting plan in order. So it's a good position for Virginia Tech. And I think speaks that their commitment has to be real, because I don't think Franklin says yes if he doesn't think that he would be able to. Yeah. It.
I mean, I think like you said, Pry probably had to tell him, hey, this place is winnable if they were actually spending the money they're going to spend when I was still the head coach. Right. It was just too little, too late for me to actually make an impact here. So if that money's real, if they're actually like putting that stuff up, then you can win here. And I do think Tech has a lot of upward mobility in this conference. Like a well-funded Tech, just looking at this, like I expect them to be better than Georgia Tech.
No,
right?
top
I expect
four,
them to be better than Virginia.
Top 4 program.
Yeah.
Could be top 4 program.
Yeah, I think that's probably their expectations. And I think like,
how we've had to figure out where to put SMU, where it's like, all right, SMU is always going to have a roster. As long as they've got Rhett, they're going to be well coached. Like SMU, you have to walk into every season. You're like, I don't know, top 5, top 6, somewhere in that upper tier. Virginia Tech should be there in that conversation with an SMU, with another one of those teams in that range.
Yeah, if you're doing your job, it's top 3rd in the ACC. Right?
Yeah,
I mean there's 17 teams, so top 3rd is like top 5, top 6 for sure.
Yeah,
and if you're bottom half, you got real reason to be disappointed.
And that's the other part of this. I think this is a good hire for the ACC.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, like on this morning show, I was making fun of the league, but like the problem with the ACC in recent years has been they just haven't had enough programs taking football seriously enough. This is a sign that Virginia Tech is getting back in the business of football and doing it in a serious way. They're not looking for an up-and-coming coordinator. They're already investing a bunch of money into getting one of the top-tier coaching that's left on the market. So you put that on there. You got what SMU's been doing. Florida State clearly is going to do whatever the hell. They'll go as far in debt as they have to win football games, and that's going to be the plan, whether that's this year or next. Clemson's going to try to get back. Miami's investing. So you're finally starting to see more of these teams in that league. And like North Carolina took a swing, to their credit. I think it's a huge miss, but they took the swing. So you're still seeing teams that are now really kind of starting to get it, which I think in the long haul, or I don't know if there really is a long haul in the ACC at this point, but either way, it's a sign that you're going in the right direction, and to have more schools, because we've seen what Virginia Tech can be when it's going well.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nationally relevant program when they're winning games. It's a wonderful environment to watch a football game. So if that team is good and they're winning games, Virginia Tech is now a television draw, because that's
yes.
That's what I'm saying. You get the Metallica intro, you get Enter Sandman. Like, that's a prime time game. That could be not a Thursday night. That could be a Saturday night game. Florida State's coming to Lane Stadium. That's a huge game for the league.
This is a real threat to the time slot champs banner. I mean, goodbye CW. Hello, noon ESPN. James Franklin is a rock star.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of being like a face of the league, James Franklin leading Virginia Tech is going to be something that people talk about. Like, yeah, if you just, the winning is good. I've got one more point that I definitely want to make about it being a good hire, but on just the silly stuff, the stuff about time slot champs and how much you are like sort of in the college football conversation, Virginia Tech has not been a part of the conversation. James Franklin makes Virginia Tech a part of the conversation. And I think, to your point, Tom, about the other splash hire in the ACC recently, I think with Franklin, you're just getting obvious college coaching experience that is not replicated in the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great time to hire a coach for them, I think. Like, truly. Get the money. I mean, there's no real guarantee NC State bounces back. Like, there's no guarantee Florida State bounces back fast, right? Like, UNC, maybe they have a great year next year, but I'm not entirely sure of that. What is his ability to have a big time year next year if they crush the portal? Like, what's their schedule next year?
Ooh, are you going to pull it up?
Well, yeah, because for a while they were playing like big time non-conference games. I'm just curious if that trend is. This is nice. VMI,
they get Old Dominion at home this time.
Man, VMI, Old Dominion at Maryland, James Madison.
Hey, James Madison, that'll be a banger game.
Oh, Chip, in league, UVA, BC, Cal, at Clemson, at Miami. So those two are tough, although Clemson loses a ton. Host Georgia Tech, host NC State, host Pitt.
That's a solid ACC schedule. Like, not easy, not hard. Yeah. I would say that's middle of the pack.
There's no Louisville, there's no SMU, there's no Florida State. I'm trying of the teams that spend, right? Clemson, Miami, Florida State, Louisville, SMU.
I'll say this: you're going to be
tested. 2 of the 5.
You're going to be tested in the back half of the season. We'll see how the roster's built, but
it's not in order, obviously, because they haven't. It's the ACC. Yeah. They'll probably announce the order in like June.
6-day window.
Yeah.
6-day window on the schedule.
But you probably should be going 3-1 or 4-0 in that non-conference slate, assuming JMU loses quite a bit off the schedule. That's big. Just blindly, if they're really, really spending, they're favored in half of these conference games?
At least.
Maybe 5?
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think James Franklin can do? How about this? Frank Beamer career winning percentage at Virginia Tech is .659. James Franklin career winning percentage is .680.
Right.
I think James Franklin can deliver Frank Beamer results.
Yes.
And Frank Beamer is your legend. Like, that is the icon of your program. I think if the standard is Frank Beamer, I think James Franklin can deliver Frank Beamer.
Ooh.
You can keep more of that talent home in Virginia than the last few staffs have.
Let's take a look here. I'm just trying to think what Beamer did in the ACC, right?
Do you know what he did? He won a lot of conference championships and then went to the Orange Bowl and lost.
Yeah. I mean, they won.
Do you think James Franklin can't win a bunch of ACC championships and go lose in the college football playoff? Virginia Tech would love to be losing in the college football playoff.
Like that was 8 years in a row of 10 plus wins once they joined the ACC.
Right, but how many 12-0? Ever since like the Vic Meteor year,
right?
You'd always lose a couple games.
Yeah, you had 11-2. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons of 3 losses, but it was like 10-3 or 11-3, and then you had the 1, 10-4 year. Yeah, and like with the league being so down, I agree with you. Like the upward mobility here is quite high if they do it right.
Also, like 2-3 loss seasons are okay now. You can get into the playoff that way.
Yeah.
If Miami is sitting here at 8-2 with a path to the college football playoff, then sure, Virginia Tech can be there.
Mm-hmm.
So we agree across the board. Good match, good fit. Excited about Virginia Tech. the first inner Sandman with of the James Franklin era is going to rock.
Oh, man. And it's going to be like I bet, let's see, who do they open the season with?
VMI.
Oh, never mind. I was going to say, if they had if that Maryland game or something was like a season opener, that was going to be like the Sunday night ABC game.
Ooh, yeah, maybe. All right. Coming up on the other side, what does Franklin at Virginia Tech mean for the rest of the coaching carousel and more? Next.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons. It's big time.
It's big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Back here at on the Cover 3 podcast, continuing to react to the news of James Franklin expected to be the next head coach at Virginia Tech. So James Franklin, of course, throughout these discussions was, talking to Virginia Tech. Also, as we understand it, gauging what the rest of the landscape was going to be, what jobs were open, also what jobs may become open. So let's go quick Noel minute. Does this mean Mike Norvell is on any less of a hot seat in the moment?
I don't think so, but maybe if you subscribe to the idea that they feel like they have to get a big name, right? Like some of their actions as an administration have not been super progressive, like dumping a whole lot of money into facilities kind of at the end of the facilities boom. I don't really know if that's like something you could say was a terrible idea because, like you're not giving that building back, obviously. But part of making a hire is selling it to your boosters. We talk about this as well. Like when we go back to the Matt Rule Nebraska discussion, like is Matt Rule really giving above expectation results for what Nebraska, given Nebraska's spending level? I don't really think so, right? But if you're an AD, you fundraise off the head coach. Like as much as the players are paid and the players are higher profile now than they've ever been, like your head coach is still the superstar. And so sometimes you have to have a guy you can really fundraise off and sell. Like, hey, this is the guy. Even though there's no real upside, I don't think, in terms of success to selling the guy, unless you really don't think you can fundraise off somebody else. So I mean, it's one less guy they could hire. I think if you're a Knoll, just given some of the contracts they've given out, you're probably like, oh, thank God. Like you didn't try to, like,
I'm not wrong.
You didn't try to outdo Virginia Tech's, like Rainmaker offer.
So, but I'm not wrong to see a Florida State fan reaction out there that's like, damn, I wish we had moved on Mike because I wanted James Franklin at Florida State. Like, I'm not wrong.
I think that's definitely prevalent out there. Yeah.
All right. That's what I was sensing. Well, so what is this? What are the dominoes? Obviously, Franklin's off the market. So maybe it sharpens the focus in other jobs. Maybe Franklin's off the market. Arkansas now has more clarity in terms of where it wants to go. Franklin's off the market. Maybe things start to progress at a UCLA. Something when we were ranking the open jobs, there were very clearly tiers. And Virginia Tech was not in the top tier, but Virginia Tech had peers in its tier. So who do you think we should be keeping an eye on next?
I think it's a better job than Arkansas. Like Virginia Tech has come out and said we are spending like publicly. Arkansas, like they really have not. I think this is probably a good thing for, like you said, Arkansas, probably Oklahoma State, right? If they were in the Golesh market, I'm trying to think like.
What Brandon Marcello said? Brandon Marcello, didn't Brandon Marcello mention that Bob Chesney is the name to watch next, and maybe
UCLA.
Maybe even at UCLA. Yeah.
Oh.
He said that on CBS Sports HQ. I hadn't put all those together yet. I thought that was an interesting wrinkle that for sure just makes Bob Chesney, in my mind, the best next candidate sort of on the market. He's the creme de la creme. If you're in the market, you got to at least talk to Bob Chesney.
I was thinking Sean Lewis, UCLA, but like Chesney would be a good hire as well, I'm sure. I mean, nice track record of winning. Again, like Tom says, no idea if it'll work out. But yeah, I mean, good track record of winning ball games. So that makes sense. UCLA. Try to think who else Virginia Tech was truly considering. I don't have a great feel for who the rest of their list was because from like the early onset, they were like, hey, Franklin's the guy. Like they were fairly clear about. You know what I'm saying? Like who else did they even interview?
All right. So there's grade there's grade the hire and grade the process, right?
Right.
So forget grade the hire, grade the process A+.
Yes.
They found someone that they really wanted. They went out, they landed him, and now they're able to introduce him on a perfect timeline for him to be able to be successful. Like that process, A+. Higher, we'll see. A Danny Kanell C+. But like, I truly think that for Virginia Tech, what led to Brent Pry, what even led to maybe Justin Fuente, the process didn't go like this. So congratulations on that.
Reporting from the BOV, which
Board of Visitors.
Oh, sorry. Okay. They talked to Franklin, Chesney, Manny Diaz. That's good for Duke, right? I think Duke certainly wants to keep Manny.
Yeah.
What other jobs? Like, I don't think Auburn was competing in the same pool as them.
You don't think that James Franklin to Auburn had any potential?
No.
Okay.
I don't know if this is going to start like we talked about this on HQ, and I did a bad job answering the question, so I'm going to fix my answer. I don't think this is going to start movement. I don't think this is like a domino that's going to get coaches hired. I think that one thing we have to remember is that James Franklin is unemployed. James Franklin is free to take a job right now. None of these other coaches are. So like Chesney, Diaz, the guys Virginia Tech was talking to, the guys all the other schools are talking to, we're all still sitting in their current jobs. And until we see a coach get up and leave while the season still has 2 weeks left, I just don't think we're going to ever see that.
Speaking of having your eyes elsewhere before the season's over, I don't blame the Kiffin family for going to check out your options. I think the fact that reportedly they were in Gainesville and reportedly in Baton Rouge is smart. This is the off week. We're coming up on Thanksgiving week. This is a time where you want to have all of the information.
Chip, how many other coaching searches do you remember where it came public knowledge that the coaching candidate's family was touring the town?
I'm just, trying to put myself in their shoes. I would want to check out the high schools too. Before I had a big decision to make, I want to get all of the information. The Kiffin family is just being very, thorough. I applaud how thorough the Kiffin family is being as they go through this process.
What did we say like 3 hours ago? Like, this could be a Sexton thing, but like Lane wants the eyes on.
Oh, this is Lane week. The Ole Miss is off, but Ole Miss is going to be talked about every single day this week.
He likes the attention, man.
Hey,
I mean, if you're Ole Miss, like, I don't know if you're shocked, but you got to be at least a little bit surprised that it's going to these lengths, right? Like, I mean, how many schools are there really to go to in Gainesville?
Bud, at this
it's
point,
like one public high school and like one private high school, and you just take your pick.
I think Lane is taking his OVs. I think he's doing his official visits and just getting them out of the system. He's going to have, on the night before the Egg Bowl, 3 hats on a table. He is going to make college football sit through a Lane Kiffin commitment video.
I mean, dude,
stream it out where the Waffle House is. You got to find out. You got to see what kind of condition it's in, where it's located.
Yeah,
testing out the local chicken joints, barbecue joints. Figure out what's better.
I mean, I think you can let him do this through the Egg Bowl, honestly, unless you really have the stones to say, hey, we need an answer. Like, we're going to fire you. Like, Florida State did not let Jimbo coach that final game.
Right.
Because Thrasher called him in and was like, hey,
if you're out,
staying or
be
you're
out.
going.
Yeah. If you're out, be out.
Yeah.
Because it hadn't been finalized with A&M yet. It was like everyone knew it was headed in that direction.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he had pretty much spoiled the relationship with a lot of the boosters anyway at that point, which, again, could or could not apply here, right?
If I'm Ole Miss athletic director Keith Carter, I do not want to wake up on the morning of the Egg Bowl without certainty signed.
I mean, I'm not convinced they have the stones to say, like, hey, before the Egg Bowl or not, but I guarantee you, like, they need to get this done before the playoff because it's going to impact their ability to search for a coach.
Again, I applaud how thorough the Kiffin family is being with their, research on these potential areas. I look forward to the commitment video from Lane Kiffin.
I mean, I know that, like, there's been reporting out there that, like, they're giving him ultimatums and stuff, but like, I'm not I'm not going to doubt Lane Kiffin's ability to drag this out and keep the spotlight stretching.
Absolutely not. I wanted to be very clear. The Cover 3 podcast does not strongly report anything other than this is a Lane Kiffin masterpiece right here.
Also, there was like the report that Ole Miss might just let somebody else coach the playoff games if they don't get a decision soon. Do you guys think that Ole Miss, after finally reaching the college football playoff, would tell the coach who got him there that he can't coach them in those games?
Well, I just think Lane.
Yeah,
Kiffin
if he's leaving, I think so.
Ooh,
because I think they want the spot. This is what I'm saying. Like,
but what if they don't know if he's leaving? He just hasn't made the decision yet.
I think that they can ask for an actual answer by that point. Either sign the new deal or you're done, right? Like, we're talking about the playoffs here. Again, I don't know if I totally buy this before the Egg Bowl stuff. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but I do think they'll get this done before the playoff.
Yeah, they've already identified potential interim coaches. It's bananas.
It would be Golding, I assume, right?
I would assume so, yeah.
The DC Pete Golding?
Mm-hmm.
I wish it would be Charlie Weiss.
Do you think he'll do like a video announcement?
Yes.
He'll
bring a co-ed from each school out. And he'll pick the hottest one.
No.
What if they put like 3 planes in the air and he's like on none of them and he just shows up to practice at Ole Miss? Or like, oh, dude, you could have Jimmy Sexton get off the one in Gainesville, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and delayed and have it, and then somebody else get like okay, like shoot, like, oh, here's Jimmy Sexton, he's come off the plane. It's actually like he's
I do think actually I do have one bit of criticism. It is taunting the rest of the world who is dealing with flight issues every single turn.
Oh,
that they are so easily navigating the country.
This is true.
Be nice.
Yeah.
That PJ life.
I was just thinking about that, but I was like, well, that'd be disrespectful to flights. Send 3 of them in the air. We'll see. Yeah, that I would say. All right, Brandon Marcello, Penn State and James Franklin recently negotiated the buyout down to $9 million. His contract called for a buyout of $49 million to be paid through 2031, which could be offset by future earnings at another job. So, what does that mean?
So 5 years, $40 million at Virginia Tech.
Well, but it means he got the $9 million up front, I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't negotiate this down unless it's a lump sum.
Okay. So just lump sum cash out.
Yeah.
James Franklin, the cash out king. There you go.
But
it's a pretty good deal for Penn State.
That's a very good deal for Penn State.
Saying, what if his Virginia Tech deal is $40 million? Like, why did they choose 9 when there was 49 owed?
I will be curious on the length here. Like, Virginia Tech is the first school to make a hire this year, and we have seen some chatter around amongst schools and people like, hey, like, do we really need to go with the length?
So 4 for 40.
Like, Rule got more years, but not more money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't actually increase the buyout, I guess. Do we know what Elko's terms are? Have they actually released the term sheet?
I haven't. I haven't been up on my contracts recently. So
I just like if they do like the 8-year $72 million thing fully guaranteed, it's like, have we learned nothing? Like, how many of these 8-year deals is anybody ever happy with?
Oh, I think it's going to be.
I think they have to overpay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and for Franklin, great decision.
Oh God, yeah.
So good job. A+ all the way around. We'll see how it goes.
We'll miss him at Big Ten Media Days.
We will.
I wonder if he can also keep some of the guys on that staff. Dude,
what about the fact that, and I've seen this be shared a bit. I need to fact check it myself. So why not bring it to the Cover 3 podcast? The Penn State decommit list, I think, is one to watch too.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the way that Penn State's roster was built, a list of players from Penn State's recruiting class that have decommitted, I would say that James Franklin and Virginia Tech, you have to consider a potential landing spot for some of those guys.
Assuming, and I'm assuming here, but assuming he keeps Andy Frank, the GM who he's had since he was at Vandy, like, does Andy go now?
I don't know.
Might.
Or do you do the rest of the class at Penn State?
I would bet that, not knowing him at all, he would feel like it was his job to finish the class at Penn State and then leave. So another few weeks and then jump to Penn State.
And if you're the Hokies, you want him like yesterday.
Right. Yeah. We'll see. Virginia Tech recruiting stock market up emoji.
The one thing on Penn State is like this is a decent to good year in state for Pennsylvania, but next year is a really good year. Like we are just based on the very early returns, like the juniors in the state of Pennsylvania right now are studs. So that'll be important for the new coach to hit the ground running.
Good stuff. All keeping an eye on it. We are going to be with you next Tuesday night. Said about 8:45, hopefully given the events at Madison Square Garden, Champions Classic. That is in between the games is when they're going to announce the new college football playoff rankings. We'll go live here, youtube.com/cover3 around 8:45. If they haven't gotten to it yet and we're just exchanging free throws in the game, we'll just take listener questions. Is that cool, Tom? Does that sound good with you?
I'm too filled with rage that college football would dare take a back seat to basketball. That just shows you how important these rankings are. They're not more important than basketball.
Come and hang out with Tom, who will not at all be cranky. As we react live to the new college football playoff rankings, 8:45 p.m. Eastern time. Then on Wednesday, we'll be back. Big game breakdown, biggest matchups from the weekend slate. Thursday for locks, and then back at it with another instant reaction on Saturday. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip _Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
See y'all.